pump vibrates quite a bit, right? And so if you put your hand on the hose from the mechanical pump, you would feel like, oh my God, it's vibrating like crazy. So the vibration prod gets rid of all those vibrations, because if you didn't have that, all those vibes coming up into the chamber, you would be able to image like maybe 1000x, because you would just see jagged edges everywhere. SEMs are very susceptible to vibration, right? You're trying to image something. So, yeah. So far, so good? All right, cool. Let's press on. So if we take a look at your microscope, usually this would be this huge thing in the room, but obviously it's not anymore. So the mechanical pump is located back here. Goes in. Here's your vibration pod. There's the other mechanical pump hose going up into the actual base of the cube, and then inside the housing is actually a turbo pump sitting upside down. And then from there, different valves, and then you actually can see your column on the other side of that. So if we open up the stage, and I'm not sure if it just thinks that I have this on this angle right now, and nobody can see what's going on. But if one person wants to come at a time, I just want to kind of show you folks inside the chamber really quick. I want to show you the, just. Yep, that's fine. Yep. So sample stage, obviously familiar with it, right? Inserting your samples inside here. On this side of this. Inside, if you were to take a look inside, see your backscatter detector is right up there. You see that? Yep, all the way to the top. Yep, that's the backscatter detector. And then on the back side of that would be your secondary. And then that's your pole piece. What I'm touching right now is the pole piece. This is your final aperture assembly right here. And obviously the gun is up on top. Cool. Somebody else? Yeah. And then over here, this is just a directory of previous images that have been saved. And you can always just double click on any image you want. For instance, if I double click on that, it just throws that to as your display. But if I come up here and if I hold my mouse on the upper left-hand corner, it just switched to a stage program. So you see this is our stage program. And then you can always just flip back and forth between your directory, exporting images, and then back to our stage program. How you leave it is completely up to you. But just to let you know, if you were to say home the stage, it's already at home position. Okay, so it's not home the stage. Usually the SM is on the other side of me. Hang on a second.
What kind of sample we have now?
Okay, I just moved it in one direction just so it could go back at home, so it wasn't in home position. So the way I usually start before we do anything is I'll home the stage. Okay, so before we even tell it to do anything, right? If you were to put the sample in, or if the sample was not in already, as soon as I launch the software, I say home the stage. Yeah, just home it. And then the next step I would do is I'd be like, okay, so I'm going to move us over to here, and see these two buttons down here? Vac and vent. Right now we are vented. There's no vacuum in there. So what I want to do is, since it's vented, I can open up the chamber door, right? And I can insert a sample. There's one already inserted. So now I'm just going to close the door, and I'm going to say, you know what? I want to get rid of all the air because I want to run this thing, right? So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit vac. So it starts pumping down, and you're going to hear it first level, second level. Right, it was like, that was the next valve that opened. And I always make sure that I can't open up the chamber door. So this way, you don't walk away from it and the door's not really closed and it's trying to suck down the whole room, right? So you always want to make sure this door is closed. Okay. And then if we go back to talking about vibrations, if we come over here, and just for you guys, just to come over, just grab this hose. And then grab this hose, right? So just, How is this working? So it's just a lead-filled pod. That's all it is. That's all it is. Yeah, it makes a big difference, right?
There's some sort of filtration or whatever?
Yeah, so this is an oil demister because the mechanical pump, it works with it's an oil-filled pump. right? And so as it's gurgling inside, oil vapors will come up. And so that's why we have an oil demister on there to catch any of those oil vapors. And then when we do routine maintenance, let's say, once or twice a year, we come in, the base of this oil will start turning black, and then eventually we'll get a new oil demister. And that'll probably last like 2 years. Yeah. And tomorrow I'll have a full parts list of everything that you'll need to have. And I'm gonna be back in tomorrow morning to drop off your training certificates, stuff like that. Just a couple of small things. No training realistically tomorrow. Okay, so far so good. So mechanical pump, it's pumping down. SCM is just doing what it should. And if we look down here at the bottom, right here, it's telling us what vacuum level we have, right? So right now it's telling us that we are sitting at 7.5 times 10 to the minus 4 torr, right? So eventually that's going to go green, and it usually goes green. It's probably pretty close to going green right now. I think like around 4 or something like that times 10 to the minus 4.
That's like the absolute vacuum, or
The absolute will be 7.5 times 10 to the minus 5. That'll be absolute, and you always want to run it at the absolute, and it takes it at like 3 minutes or so to get there. And so we just let it go. So it just went green. Do you see that? It just went green? So as soon as that went green, this run button became active. And run is your button that says, hey, we are ready to go. All right? If this is not green, run will not be active and you won't be allowed to do anything.
question.
Sorry?
Question. Last time we met, you said you want to let this run until 10 to the negative 5.
Yep.
Right? Why?
That's because that's max vacuum. And we always want it to be at max vacuum.
Is there a danger to hitting the go button as soon as it's green?
Short filament life. Yep. So it reached it pretty quickly afterwards, right? So we've reached max vacuum right now. And realistically, you always want it to hit that. Just because your filaments may last, let's say, this one has right now, this one's got 50 hours on it right now. 50.27. So that's a lot of hours. I don't know how long it's going to go, but I'm doing like a trial on this one to see if it's going to go 80, 100, 60. I have no idea. But if you were to run it at a quicker vacuum level, that filament time could get reduced from, I don't know, let's say, I'm going to give you specs. Filament should last for 20 to 40 hours. That's spec. Okay? So running it at poor vacuum might make it last for 5 hours. That's how drastic it can be. Oversaturating the filament, and I'm going to go over that soon, I haven't talked about that yet, that can make it last for 1 hour. So it's very important the voltage that's on the filament and how the vacuum level is as well. But it reaches that maximum value very, very quickly, so it's not really like you have to wait like an extra half hour or something like that. It's seconds.
And when does this filament go out? Will you change it per hour 7?
I'll change it.
You change it?
Yeah, I'll change it.
You want to come to change it?
I'll come to change it, and then I'll show you guys how to do it as well. Yep. Yep, you'll get a filament burnout error on the screen, and you'll be like, oh, filament's blown, and then I'll come in and put a new filament in here. But, yeah, so I'm going to leave it in just because I want to see how long it's going to last. So, okay, so if we start at the very top of this menu screen right here, and if we go to configuration, this is password protected because in here is where we have some settings that I have put in here, some calibration settings, so we just leave that.
There's no need for us to go there.
No need for you folks to be in. Option, you guys can be in here, and this is like your data display here. So if you go annotation, for instance, and if we go conventional transparent, I said okay. Actually, I need this to be on. Give me a second. Okay. I need it to be live. So if we go conventional, see it turns the background black. See that's displayed, and if we go conventional transparent, then it makes it transparent. If we go basic, it's just nothing on there, and if we go thesis, it's just a very long micron marker. So we usually just leave it on conventional. And so save option is saving as an mcraft file as a JPEG as well, to 2 saves in 1, which is great. And then it just could index your files and so on, and displays your acceleration whether it's a mag. So you're doing the thumbnail displays. What do you want it to display? Also, there's some test feature in here, but again, that's password protected, so realistically for you guys, there's nothing to do in there. So the first thing, we're going to go back to our stage, and I'm going to hit center. It's actually home.
What's the difference between home and center?
Home takes it down to this base setting, and center should center us up on one of the samples. And right now it's not cooperating. Interesting. I'm just going to vet really quick. I want to see what we're hung up on. He's hung up on something.